Verse 3. I've read it before, I just read it again. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. What was this light? I think here the simplest thing to see this is God is that light itself. We see this old concept repeated in Revelation, where in the new heaven and the new earth there is no more sun, because God himself is a light. Okay, so I think that is playing the simplest explanation here, that the one who gave the light is God, that he, in his way, without the sun, right? I mean, if God can create all of this, and all the billions and trillions of stars out there, then sure he can make light without the sun. I mean, even we can make light without the sun. Just put on the switch. Well, when electricity works, put on the switch and you might get light, right? So why can't God do that? I have absolutely no idea. Okay. So yes, verse 4. And God saw that the light was good, and God separated light from the darkness. Okay, here as well, I just want to make a point, the fact that God saw something good. Okay. God, this is as well the foundation for knowledge. It's a foundation for morality, good, bad. How do we know something is good? Okay, if my face is dirty, I can't see it if I don't have a mirror or water or something. Okay, the only way I can see it is if maybe somebody else comes up to me and tell me, you know, your face is dirty. Right? Otherwise, I can't know it. So for us standing in here on earth, knowing when we don't know anything, to know what is good and bad is something that is taught to us in a certain sense, right? It's something, therefore, that comes ultimately, morality, from God. It's not born in culture. It's not born in ourselves. But the foundation for it ultimately comes from here, where God is saying, this is good. And that's just another as well important point when we get to the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay? It's not as if God did not, before he made that tree, started teaching people already what is good and what is bad. Okay? But we will come back to that in chapter 2, at least, or at the earliest. Okay, so yes, God separating light from darkness. Darkness, in other places in the Bible, is understandably seen as it's the time of the night when thieves are out there. But I think again we would make the mistake of thinking darkness is always just bad. Darkness is always just bad. Darkness is good as well. Okay, again, if you go to the far north, where in the winter you don't see the sun, in the summer you only see the sun. Now try sleeping in those kinds of, say, I remember when I saw it the first time, it's like, it's 12 o'clock and it's still like this out there. I mean, how am I going to sleep? We need the night, we need the dark to be able to rest, to let our bodies be restored. So I don't want to just see this as darkness, as bad here, because there's a reason as well, not only that, but the reason being then that if darkness is not just the absence of light, but darkness is created by God, and then that would for me imply that God created something bad and he just said it's good. So we turn darkness into something bad by using it as a time of the day to go around and steal or murder or whatever we do. But the majority of us as humans sleep in that time, and we need it. We need it to be able to rest. Okay, so God did not create something bad here. This is just a separation, not a separation between bad and good, right? But just a separation between light and dark. So certain things for certain times. Verse 5, God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. Okay, this is when we understand we sleep. And there was evening and there was morning the first day. Okay, evening, morning, first day. We don't count days like that. Okay, but because again we don't count days like that today, doesn't mean that they can't be counted like that. Or there were cultures that counted days like that. If you go to Thailand, this is not the year 2025. sorry, 2024. We're still very close to 2025. It's not the year 2024. Okay, it's 543 years after 2567. Okay, that would be in Thailand. That's how they count the years, right? From the birth of Buddha. Or if you go to Russia, for example, and you look at the calendar, Monday is the first day of the week, not Sunday. Okay, so because in certain cultures they do things differently, that does not mean that it can't be. Okay, and we do know as well that the religious day for the Jews would start in the evening. So the Sabbath at sunset, the day would start from the next day. So that is as well then just what we find here. Okay, so this is well not a problem to see. It's not. I don't think people can object to this as a mistake or anything like that. Okay. The other thing as well, God calling things. We will see later that to call something is a prerogative of God. Okay, you name your children, you give them a name. That means they're your children. Okay. Now the one that has overall responsibility for absolutely everything, keeps everything in control and in order and existing is God. And so one of these is that God is the owner of everything, and by naming, he is claiming authority. This is mine. Okay? So by naming something, it gives it its essence, its meaning, what it is, to whom it belongs. And so it's not just words on paper that means nothing, it has meaning. It has a real deep kind of meaning. Okay, but we will get back through the studies to that kind of concept as well, because some people say in the name of Jesus, the Psalms are there in the name of Jesus, where they just think of more name as just words on paper, but not the essence of what it means, really, the depth of it. Okay, so God naming something, naming something, this is what it is. Because I'm God, I'm naming it, I made it, it belongs to me, this is what it will do, this is how it will function. Verse 6. And God said, let there be expanse in the midst of the waters, and let separate the waters from the waters. And God, the 7, made the expanse and separate the waters that were under the expanse from the waters that were above the expanse. And it was so. Verse 8. And God called the expanse heaven, and it was evening, and it was morning, the second day. Okay, so here we have, if we go to verse 8, we get the idea of what is happening. So it's heaven, and so the expanse above is now heaven, right? So this is to do then with more the formation, as we will see later on, of the creation of the sky above us. And the earth. So as we will see later on, when the fish are made, which is in the waters, and the birds that flies in the heaven. Okay, it flies in the sky. It doesn't fly in heaven as where Jesus kind of is, right? But just up in the sky. So God separating, God creating the air around us, making again life on earth possible. Right, so that oxygen can be here. We have an atmosphere. Other planets around us, Mars, all the other, they say the atmosphere, it doesn't have it, so we can't live there. Right? We need the atmosphere to live, to breathe, to gas. I don't want to go into biology here too much, but you can go and study that up to see the amount of oxygen in the air around us, the amount inside our lungs, etc., right, and how it perfectly functions together. Okay, so this is what God is doing. He is then creating this expanse. He is separating. Okay, he's separating what he made into two different places, so as to then ultimately be able to fill it in with the other animals, the other animals that he is going to create. Okay, verse 9. And God said that the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called seas, and God saw that it was good. So here, the separation between the land and the water, so to separate where we are standing on now, Earth, right? We're not on a boat in the middle of the sea, we're on land. And we're not overrun by water here where we are standing. So God's separating it, making a place for where the fish ultimately can live, where we can live. And again, God is the one naming it. It belongs to Him. He gives it its meaning. He gives it. And the other, as well, just very important point is the fact that in other myths in the day, when Moses wrote this down, different myths, the sea and the monsters in the sea was always seen as this fight going on, and the different gods, and the gods in the sea and the gods here, and they're all fighting each other. All of this, and again, God is just, He is the one in control of it. He moves things. There's not the other gods. He is not that there's a fight with the sea god or something like that, and where the sea god is now winning, then the sea god is overrunning land, and then the sea, like a tsunami or something like that, and then the sea god is losing. No, God is the one who ordains where the sea will be, where land will be. They are not in a fight with Him. Okay, and on that point, I just want to speak a little bit quickly on world view.